So Charlie, just tell me one thing: are these criminals born, or something happens to them, like in reality, so they commit crimes? So what is the reason behind?
I get asked that question a lot, and I have studied that a lot. There's a whole college class that I have taught called Criminology.
Hey, Charlie, how are you?
Good. How are you? I'm sorry. I'm having some connection issues today. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
Uh,
It's a great honor and privilege to talk with you.
well, thank you. It's my pleasure. My name's Charlie. What do you go
Okay.
by? Shandan?
Yeah, my name is Chandan, and I'm from India.
Ah, very good. Well, when I talk to people from India, I'm always intimidated because you already know about 5 languages that I. How many languages do you know?
In India, there are so many languages. I can speak only 3 to 4 languages inside India.
Only
The
three to
first one
four.
is, yeah, the first one is the Hindi, which is the national language. And apart from Hindi, there are some other languages also that I speak.
Wow, that's amazing to me because most Americans only know one language.
That is the international language. Everybody, every country speaks English language.
Well, I'm glad I speak it because I wouldn't want to learn it now. But I'm working on my third language, so I'm not like
Oh,
most Americans.
okay, okay. So you speak some other language like Spanish, German. Do you speak as well?
I'm learning Spanish. I'm getting pretty good, but my second language is American Sign Language, which is the language for deaf people. The
Yeah,
only
yeah, yeah, yeah.
thing is, a lot of people who don't know deaf people, they think it's a universal language. It is not.
Yeah.
I can only
Oh my
communicate
God.
with deaf people in the U.S. and most of Canada.
Oh my
Even in
God.
England and Australia, it's different. I wouldn't understand their sign language
Oh my God. So every country have different perspective about the sign language.
because
So it's
because
very
they're
hard.
well, it is because their history and culture are part of their language. And people say, well, why don't they just have one language? And deaf people ask the same thing about us. Why don't you just have one language?
Really, it's difficult to communicate.
Right, right. Wow. So what do you do?
I'm a freelancer. I am a web designer.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. You're not hacking my account as we're talking, are you?
No, 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 I'm okay with it. So,
Good.
Charlie,
I don't,
I saw your profile. I'm really interested to know about your job, that you are the criminal investigator.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it was so interesting job actually. So I know, how do you start? What was your journey? And did you really enjoyed your entire years?
Well,
So
I'm
it
writing
is
a book.
quite fun. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
No,
that's very
it's
nice.
great, great career. 34 years. Everyone starts in the police academy, and I worked the patrol in the high crime areas for 3 years, mostly
Oh
all
my
night.
God.
You know, uh, saw a lot of dead people, and then I went to crime scene, or what we call forensics now. CSI. I don't know if you know that TV show.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did. Yeah, I did.
CSI, the mentalist,
Well, no, more
and my
forensic. A lot of pictures, taking a lot of pictures. Uh,
so are you
but I've
able to
done
read minds to the criminal?
no, uh,
Like it's a
mentalist.
part of a job to
Yeah.
start to reach the suspect.
Well, for most police officers, we can tell when someone's lying because their lips are moving.
Okay.
Means if they're
Oh my
talking,
God.
they're usually lying to us.
So it's
But
a hard job to catch the person who is speaking right, or like true or lie. So it's very difficult to understand people's intimation.
well, I've studied that quite a bit. I've been on more than 300 death investigations.
Oh my
Uh,
God, it's a long figure.
well, I did 34 years. There's a lot of dead people.
Yeah,
They weren't all murders, but a lot were murders. Some were suicides. Some were just deaths, unexplained deaths. But you investigate it like a murder until you know different, until you can prove it's not a murder. So I've seen some very unusual things most people don't see. Worked on 2 different serial killer cases.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
here's one.
Mm.
One we caught. You can Google that name. He killed 4 people: a
Oh
man, 2 women, and a 14-year-old boy over a
my
period
God.
of 2 or 3 years. We think he killed as many as 10 people, but we know he killed 4. But we caught him.
Oh,
I worked the murder of the 14-year-old boy, so I testified at his trial, and he was found guilty. And in Texas, like about half of the states, we have the death penalty, and he's been dead since about 1998, 1999.
oh
Texas
my
executed.
God.
Yeah, and
Okay.
guess what? He's never killed anyone else since then because
Oh
he's
my
dead.
God.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
but if
So Charlie, just tell me one thing. Are these criminals born or something happens to them like in reality, so they commit crimes? So what is the reason behind?
I get asked that question a lot, and I have studied that a lot. There's a whole college class that I have taught called
Mm.
Criminology, which is
Okay.
the study of crime and its
Mm-hmm.
causes. And
Okay.
to me, that was my least favorite course to teach because all of these so-called brilliant people come up with all these reasons why little Johnny became bad. Why did he become evil? Was it because he was poor, or was he abused as a child, or was
Mm.
it his neighborhood and his environment, or his father was a criminal, his brother was a criminal, uh, or maybe he was spoiled. He had too much money,
Mm.
and he was
Mm-hmm.
bored.
Yes.
They come
Yes.
up with all these reasons to excuse or explain their behavior. So the FBI profilers, they would go into the prisons and talk to Charles Manson and Son of Sam and the Night Stalker, all these famous serial killers, and they would ask them, why did you do this?
Yes. Yes.
And do you know what they said?
What?
Basically, it's free will. I did it because I wanted to.
Now, why you want it? You do
Why?
not have
Yeah,
any say.
often something bad has happened to them. Of course, there was something bad in their childhood, often. But there are many people who are raised like that do not kill people. There's more people that
Okay.
have experienced poverty that they don't become killers, or they've experienced abuse. They don't become killers. It explains
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
for the killers. It explains their behavior. It does not justify it. They have free choice. Police,
Okay.
we have a saying, there is an international sign of guilt. Do you know what that is?
Okay. No, I don't know. What is that?
I'm glad you asked. When they run away from the crime, that means
Okay.
they knew the difference between right and wrong. They don't want to get caught.
Yes.
Did your
Yes.
did
Exactly.
your did your mother ever make some kind of sweets or something, and she told you were little? She said, "Okay, don't eat this now. We're going to eat this later." And she leaves the room. Oh, and she comes back in, and what do?
Oh my God. Oh
You
my
pulled
God.
you pulled your hand back. Why? You knew the difference between right and wrong. You
Hmm.
were guilty.
So
Now,
something happened to the mind as well. I think some kind of
maybe, maybe there are killers. There are some that don't know the difference between right and wrong. The most
yes,
famous
yes,
example. Do you remember the English rock group from the '60s and '70s, the Beatles?
yeah, the Beatles, yeah, the band.
The lead Beatle was John Lennon. In about
Okay.
1980, he was murdered in New York City. A fan
Oh
came up behind him and shot him 5 times in the back.
God.
This
And
fan
why did he?
Okay. Mark David Chapman. You can Google him. He didn't run away. Remember, I said if they know the difference, they run away. He didn't run away. He just shot a man 5 times, and he sits down on he's right on the street. He sits down on a porch, and he pulls out a book and starts reading it until the police show up. He did not, and
something happened to the mind. How is the mental condition?
He is psychotic. He is for real.
Okay.
And he's been in a mental institution since 1980. He will never get out.
Oh my God.
So that's a good example. Something was going on there. That's why they're punished a little differently.
Yes, because the justice will not enough for that kind of person.
Right. Right. But you have good questions, and people ask those often. Now, when I would teach criminology, I would teach one lesson with all of the theories that the experts say why little Johnny became bad. I don't go, here's what the experts say. They're smarter than me, but there's not one of them have worked a real murder or been in the field. I have. And these FBI profilers talk to these famous killers, and they're going to tell you, I did it because I wanted to.
Yeah. And also I see like the question that the person you ask, like criminal investigator, is quite a different way of asking that, so the criminal wouldn't able to answer. So that way also you can caught the criminal.
Yes.
Because I saw in the many CSI series. So the way of asking and the way of the behavior of the body, they can judge this is a criminal.
I see that the Mentalist is a popular show around the world, and I watched it and I enjoyed it.
My favorite show. Yeah.
But in real life, there are some body movement clues, but most even investigators don't pick up on them or don't think they're that important. Mostly we watch the eyes. When someone is trying to recall something that happened in the past, they usually look up and to the right, which would be this way for you, because they're trying to remember, what happened. If they're lying about it, they look down, and usually down and to the left, because now they're trying to think up something to lie about. That might be helpful.
Exactly. Oh,
just
really?
Just use that for criminals. Don't try this on your family or your wife.
Yeah, exactly. Really. So it's really a tough job, and exactly.
Check out Ricky Lee Green. You'll see him. He's got a weird eye. You can read about. He had vicious murders. He butchered at least the one man. Ooh, he cut him open. You know what an autopsy is?
Yeah. So
he dissected
cutting everything.
He opened him. Yes. Well, he was tied to a bed for one thing. Yeah. It was very brutal. Yeah.
Charlie, I think our time is getting over. So it was very nice to talk to you.
One fun. I'm sorry I did all the talking, but if you would like to talk again, I'll be happy to send you my schedule.
Sure. Charlie, can I use this video as a part of my YouTube video? Will that be okay? I just need your concern. Can I use this video as a part of my YouTube video? Will that be okay with you? Nothing happens. I just want to use this as a communicator.
Go for it.
Thank you so much.
If you wouldn't make any money, I want 30%.
Exactly. Bye-bye. I really enjoyed the conversation. Bye-bye. See you. See you.